This is the place for sports to be in Scalad. Dead in Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth B. Anchin. On here, Sickly Shelton and Nick is with us. FIFO will be joining us hopefully soon. So we told him 8:30, but he on his own time. But we're gonna go ahead and get in our thoughts on this trade and some commentary on the Lakers bringing back Austin Reeves as well. How about that? Perfect timing. There you go. Welcome, FIFO. So
what up?
We're just getting started. So anyway, so this broke late last night, where there was rumors that the Hornets were engaged in serious discussions to trade LaMelo Ball, who still has 3 years left on his contract. I didn't think it was a real thing. I thought maybe they were just kind of, I don't know. I didn't know what to make of it. But people do a lot of talking around this time, and they had just signed him. They had just had a great year, so it seemed weird that they would move off on him this soon. And also, I didn't know if the Wolves would have enough to trade for him, but nevertheless, apparently they did. So the Hornets dealt Ball to the Wolves for Naz Reid and 2033 unprotected first round pick, 3 first round pick swaps in 2028, 29, and 30, and 3 second round picks in 2029, 2032, and 2033. And in return, the Wolves got also Josh Green was part of the deal as well.
Who the fuck is Josh Green? That's what I was thinking. No one mentioned him outside of. I gotta look up Josh Green. Can you tell me who Josh Green is?
Yeah, Josh Green. Who did he play for that you would know? Josh Green is a 3-and-D guy. He was number 10. He played. I like Josh Green when he played. He came in and played defense, and he got some hard-nosed baskets for them. He's a journeyman, but he's in the mold of who would you recognize and think about?
He played for Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas was. You remember him in Dallas?
What is he, like a 3-and-D? Is he a lockdown defender? Like, what is he?
3-and-D. He's a 3-and-D guy. He's a poor man's Josh Hart. But poor.
That's broke.
I mean, he's homeless. Yeah, I'm about to say Josh Hart is a middle class version of who he is. Like,
well, Josh Hart rebounds a lot better, but he's still a tough guy like that. He'll come in and get some good buckets for Charlotte. He did a good job filling in when the big three was on the bench. So yeah, I like Josh Green.
He was a first round. He was a first round pick by Dallas in 2020, 18 overall.
Yeah, look. My thing is this, and this is what
real quick, FIFO, real quick. Check your mic input.
Give me a sec.
But as far I'll go off. Yeah, I'll go while FIFO's figuring his mic out. I was shocked that this trade happened as real time. I'm watching Get Up on ESPN, and they were talking about it. I think, Sheldon, I don't know if you were watching it as well, live as well. They were talking about like LaMelo Ball being potentially like in trade talks, and I was thinking like, why would LaMelo Ball be in trade talks? He just had the best season of his career technically. They just went into the play-in. They almost made the playoffs. It just seemed like, they got Con Knipple, they got Brandon Miller. They seemed like they had like their own quote unquote big three. I was surprised that like they were in it. And then an hour later, he was gone. He was in Minnesota. And I was like, what? And then as I'm thinking about this, I'm like, what did Minnesota give up? They gave up Naz Reid. I was like, and that shocked me more than anything about this trade, that Minnesota gave up Naz Reid after giving up Julius Randle just last week or the same week. And it felt like Minnesota is just like, fuck everything that we've been doing. We've already beaten the Nuggets twice. We need to focus on beating the Spurs because they dusted our ass. If it wasn't for Wemby's elbow, it could have been a gentleman's sweep. So I think that they just pivot to like, okay, we see our sights on the next true juggernaut that we have to get through. But they got small. I was just surprised they went small. And Ken and people, you go get into the specifics, but I was just shocked by Minnesota mostly giving up their size for guard depth.
So this is the reason why I'm not surprised. It's a couple of things. Now, first, I want to say I was on record, not weeks, maybe a month or so ago, that I said LaMelo and Ant on the same squad would be a very dangerous combination, and here we are.
There you go, FIFA.
Right? So,
yeah, you're right. You're right about that. You're right about that. People gave you your credit. People gave you your credit on the Reddit thread too.
All right, that's what's up. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? This is the reason why I like to be on the record. So that's first and foremost. Second of all, I want to talk about Charlotte because Charlotte's GM Jeff Peterson is a masterful genius. And this is the reason why. And again, I have not watched anything. I have not cut it on. I've seen Shams on Instagram. That's how I know what I know right now. Right. I have not listened to anybody. Colin Cowherd had a notification when you hit me up. I was like, hey, I'm not watching nobody. So this is pure FIFO. I have not been watching anything. But this is the genius of what Jeff Peterson has done. They moved on from LaMelo. LaMelo is by far their most talented player, in my opinion, right? I've been on LaMelo for the last, since he's been into the league, right? They went and got bigger by acquiring Naz Reid. They went and got future assets with all of the pick swaps and all of those second round picks. But the thing that nobody's talking about is the trade exception of $42 million. Do you know what point guard is making $42 million next season? John Morant. John Morant. You trade LaMelo, replace him with a similar style player. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, their games are a little bit different, but they're both dynamic point guards. You went and got bigger with a legit 3-and-D big Naz Reid, and you have the treasure chest of pick swaps and picks and all of that type of stuff. They can still go make another move. And they still have a full mid-level exception to go sign somebody in free agency. What the Charlotte Hornets have done is masterful in terms of manipulating the cap and not really giving up much if they can get Ja Morant in return. Now, in terms of the Minnesota Timberwolves, I agree with you, Nick. They've gotten a lot smaller. And when you look at the two best teams in the Western Conference right now, OKC and San Antonio. OKC just got bigger. They just added another 7'3" guy.
Oh,
We look at San Antonio. What did I say that they needed to do? Get bigger around Wemby, because Wemby, height-wise, is a center. Skill-wise is not a center. He's really a 4. That's really what he is. And what did they go do? Get bigger around. Well, you know, ain't nobody much bigger than Wemby, but they went and got athletic bigs around him that could go bang and do other things that he doesn't have to take that type of physical contact. I like LaMelo. I love Ant. And originally, McDaniels was supposed to be part of that deal. I thought that would have been too much to give up because now you're literally giving up everything. But people forget, Jaden McDaniels, he's 6'9". He's 6'9", and he could play small ball for it. They did get smaller. I need to see how what their plan is to address their size deficiency to really compete in the West against the two top teams in the Western Conference. But if we're
What's good, y'all? This is Doug E. Fresh, and we're asking for your support. Help us raise money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food so they can focus on helping their child live. By pledging just $19 a month, you're helping St. Jude give every child with cancer a chance. Help St. Jude save lives. Become a partner in hope today.
Join us at musicgives.org.
We're talking about a 1-2 punch in the NBA, a backcourt. Name me a backcourt that's better. There's not a backcourt that's better. I think this is by far the most dynamic backcourt in the league right now. So that being said, is it enough to get past the OKC and the Spurs? No. but it's definitely showtime. It's definitely box office. It's definitely going to sell some tickets. Why? Because Ant is already popular amongst the youngins, but LaMelo is number one amongst the youngins. So to me, I get it from a business aspect, basketball aspect. I got to see how they fill out the roster, but I like the trade for both teams, but I think it's masterful for Charlotte.
Shelton, I know I'm gonna save you for last. I want to go to get my thoughts out the way. You know, I saw a lot of the commentary. There was a whole discussion about Nas Reed, and I was shocked that people are that up in arms about Nas Reed. When you
Why?
can go get because I mean, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. LaMelo is a way better player than Nas Reed.
Who was in up in arms, Ken?
It's just our Madden chat. Yeah, so people were tripping about Nas Reed, and maybe it was just the structure of the conversation, but yeah, I'm just like, okay, it's Nas Reed, bro. Like, I agree with FIFO. He's a replacement level player. You can go get a guy like him. So if you get a chance to get a guy that can do what LaMelo does, then you go get him. You know what Ant is? They kept Gobert, which surprised the shit out of me. So now you still have height, and he couldn't do shit with Wemby anyway. So you know, it don't really matter. Like Julius Randle didn't get him past the Spurs, and fucking Nas Reed didn't get him past the Spurs. So maybe sometimes if everybody going left, you go right. So yeah, they did get a little smaller in terms of height. The reason why I like the trade is for this purpose. First round swaps. They didn't really even give up a first round picks, right? They just swapped the picks. Am I understanding that?
Yeah.
They gave up one first round pick.
Worst. They gave up one, and then all of the other picks, they're going to get the worst pick in the first round. In between those two.
So they still, to your point, as you kind of expounded on a little bit more, FIFO, they still have assets. So the way I'm looking at this trade is they gave up Nas Reed and 3 second-round picks and an unprotected first-round pick, which they should be good, so it won't matter, for LaMelo Ball and some dude named Josh Green that we didn't even know about. That's it. And I think that was a great job by the GM. And the other part I add on, and I hand it to you, Shelton, is this. LaMelo has 3 years left in his contract, and Ant, in 2 or 3 years, as people are saying, if he wants out and this experiment does not work, they are tradable assets to get picks back. So now they don't really lose anything. They're mortgaging their so-called future for a future now. And if it don't work and LaMelo went out of there or Ant went out of there and they decide who they want to keep or build on or trade them both, they can trade all of them for a haul of picks back. So from a business perspective, I think this makes absolute sense. Now it's on the GM to figure out how in the hell for Minnesota, how in the hell they're going to build around these two players to get a 4, because they still have the guy Ayo Demunse or whatever his name is on that deal on the team.
They're paying them 20. They're paying them like 20.
And they already signed him. So I'm cool with the deal. I think it was a nice move by Minnesota to go ahead and try to go ahead and win now and do it in their own way.
And Ken, I'm glad that you brought up that, because I didn't want to steal your thunder, because when we was in that Madden chat, I'm looking at Nate, and here's the thing: the reason why I posted the screenshot of the chat was because me, Nate, and my brother have had these type of conversations all the time. So him acting that way was weird, from my perspective. Obviously, he felt the same way.
How was he acting, people? Because we don't know what he said.
So basically, I was saying that Nas Reed is a replacement player, a championship role player, in my opinion, but he's replaceable because the NBA has a plethora today of stretch fours. That's what Nas Reed is. And I'm not saying that they're going to be able to replace Nas Reed's production. What I'm saying is that they will be able to easily replace the archetype. That style of play, a 6'9", 6'10" 4-man that can play defense and shoot a 3, That's abundant in the NBA. Is he better? Is he going to be better than Naz Reid? No, but LaMelo is way better than Naz Reid. So even if you get a replacement version of Naz Reid, you're still a better team because LaMelo is that much better. And the chat just kept going back and forth. But here's the thing, though. I put a little extra context there. Shelton, they don't like me in the chat. They don't like me in Madden. It is what it is. That's why Nick laughing. You know it's true.
I'm laughing because he's saying things that are like as neutral it can be when it comes to like as neutral it can be as far as the context. But the issue that the chat had and the issue that Nate had with what FIFA was saying is that yes, the archetype of a 6'9" stretch 4 is not foreign in the NBA, especially now, Sheldon. But a Naz Reid type player is not replaceable, especially when we're talking about the West. That's the issue that I had with Minnesota is because you already gave up Julius Randle, which we all understand why, but you gave up, he's still a 6'9" guy who can play inside, outside. You just gave up Naz Reid, who we all assumed before this trade was going to be your starter, who can give you 15 to 20, maybe even 30 on a great night, and still play defense. So you only have Rudy Gobert as your big left, as a legit big that you actually game plan for as far as other teams. And now you're just going guard heavy. And it's not like you're San Antonio where you can go guard heavy because you got one of the greatest defensive players that we probably ever seen. You, of course, career-wise, you can say that about Rudy, but we just saw Rudy go against Wemby, Sheldon, it didn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing. It's just like, yes, Naz Reid. If you're talking about like who would you rather have, LaMelo Ball in a vacuum, LaMelo Ball or Naz Reid? Yeah, you're probably going with LaMelo. But when you're talking about the window of opportunity for the Timberwolves to get to the finals, not even win the finals, we're just saying get out of the West. You went the complete opposite direction, and you're relying on, at least for right now, because again, free agency is still happening. You're relying on a guy who can't really do anything against the talent that you're really trying to compete with.
And that's where I disagree. Because when we watched a very hobbled Anthony Edwards, he was still relatively efficient at getting by whoever he wanted to get by and still get to the rack, right? So obviously we assume that Anthony Edwards or any superstar is going to be relatively healthy going into the playoffs, at least more healthier than what he was. And even at a 70-80% version of himself, he will still be able to be dominant. And I also agree with Ken, when everybody's going right, sometimes it's better to go left. And this is the reason. San Antonio, you can outrun San Antonio. The way that the Minnesota Timberwolves are built now, they're gonna run. They're going to play up tempo. It's 7 seconds. It's push the rock. That's where LaMelo is best, is in the open court. Also, I've always said I want to see Ant play a little bit more downhill. Ant needs to get easier buckets. When we watch Ant, right? It's a lot of one-on-one. It's a lot of give Ant the ball, move the hell out the way. And even though in clutch moments, that's what I want out of my superstar, and we know he can deliver because he has for 3 years straight now, the shots he gets are difficult. LaMelo makes that easier for him. Naz Reid doesn't do that. Julius Randle proved that he doesn't do that. Even Karl Anthony Towns proved that he doesn't do that. LaMelo will do that for Ant. I don't disagree that the size is an issue. But again, that's why I kept saying he's replaceable. All you need is a dude that can stretch the floor and hold his own on defense now. I don't need somebody that is at the level of Naz Reid to be a good basketball team now. And that's my point at the end of the day, is that he's replaceable. Yes, he may be the top tier of that archetype right now in the NBA, or upper middle class of that archetype, but he's not elite. Julius Randle wasn't elite. I could give you Cat had elite potential, and Cat is very good, and Cat might be upper echelon of that archetype. But come on, man. At the end of the day, LaMelo Ball is the best basketball player in this trade. Therefore, in my opinion, they won the trade. Player for player, the whole thing, because when you look at the Paul George trade and all the players that came from that Paul George trade, obviously OKC won that trade. But today, right now, like you said, Nick, in a vacuum, player for player, the Wolves won this. But at the end of the day, Charlotte is also set up to go get a Ja Morant and somebody else in free agency. So both teams won to a degree, but there is a deficiency with the Wolves. But at the end of the day, man, come on. Like Nas Reed? We over here arguing about some Nas Reed.
I'm not. Well, Sheldon, go ahead. I want to hear your thoughts.
Nick, when FIFA, when you said that in the chat last night from Twitter, I wouldn't even, was the furthest thing from my mind. I'm sitting here preparing to send my daughter off to college, and I'm thinking about that, stressed about that a little bit, man. I saw that, I'm like, man, this is one of them fake sites. I just knew it was, and when I looked and saw Sham said it, man, you talk about somebody sick and watching my phone. I watched my phone all night. I didn't even look and see who it was. I was hoping. So I'm talking about, I didn't even sleep last night that much. I'm serious, man. I woke up in the middle of the night looking at my phone. Like, if it's out there, then it's going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. It wasn't some people saying like, well, it's not really going to happen. They're not going to be able to give enough. I'm like, man, it's going to happen. They wouldn't even put it out there if it wasn't going to happen. But I was definitely in my feelings last night. This morning when I saw it, I was late for work. I laid back down. Because LaMelo is my favorite player, man, and probably always will be. Well, Larry Johnson, but then LaMelo. But the more I pondered on it, and the more I read up on it, and the more I went and researched the guys that are coming in, those rookies we have, and just thinking about Jeff Peterson and all the good stuff he's done to this point, and Charles Lee, the way he's been coaching his team, I felt a little bit better as the day went on. I had to think about it from the standpoint that LaMelo played 72 games this year. That's the most games he's played in forever. He played like in the last 2 or 3 years, he played 100 games or something like that. So in saying that, this was LaMelo's best season. He distributed the ball well. He got those guys. He put Khan in position to be successful. He made Brandon Miller a dog. So all Charlotte did was sold high. And they told me that they didn't believe in LaMelo long term. That's really the bottom line. And they put out feelers, and they felt better about this offer than any of the others they got. But I don't know if something happened off record other than this too, because it could have. We don't know. All I know is LaMelo has been there working out with those guys all summer, and he was ready to go. He was upset that he was getting traded. They made that clear. LaMelo was loving it in Charlotte, and he has been with those guys working all summer. It's all the talk has been about trading Miles Bridges, not about LaMelo. So this was something that came from left field.
What's good, y'all? This is Doug E. Fresh, and we're asking for your support. Help us raise money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food so they can focus on helping their child live. By pledging just $19 a month, you're helping St. Jude give every child with cancer a chance. Help St. Jude save lives. Become a partner in hope today.
Join us at musicgives.org.
Yesterday only, but let me start with Minnesota on my take on it. Minnesota, they made a move. Minnesota's in a position of desperation. They had to make a move, and it's well known that he wasn't happy with the direction of the team. He knows what's going on, and they know that they got a chance of losing him if they don't make him happy. Bringing in LaMelo is putting another star beside him. And like people said, LaMelo takes a lot of pressure off of him. They keep talking about getting doubled all the time. You can't double him with LaMelo because LaMelo can hit that big shot. So in that sense, it's a good move. Nas Reed is we are underselling Nas Reed a little bit. Nas Reed is a dog. Nas Reed is scary to me. When he
could be he could be 6 man of the year for the last 2 seasons.
Yes, and he makes big shots. He don't just make regular shots. So a lot of times, I don't know if y'all remember, but during the playoffs, even when Minnesota was struggling, Nas Reed
he kept them in the games. Yep,
it was either him or Jaden Daniels, but usually it was him first that would be cooking. So Nas is a dog. He's not going to be the person. He's not LaMelo. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is he is definitely an asset for a team that's looking to be ascending. So that part of the trade is pretty big because not only does Charlotte have him, they can move off from him too. So don't be surprised. I don't think Charlotte is done. But the only other part is
They're
Minnesota
nowhere near done, Shelton.
Right.
They're nowhere near done.
Nowhere near complete. They have a plan in place. They're playing chess while everybody else playing checkers. And the only thing is Minnesota doesn't have a first round pick to 2034. That's
Crazy.
all their first round picks. So they're going to have to make some other moves to get some other players in
They're
there.
swaps though. They're swaps. So they have the worst pick.
The next first round pick they have is still not until 2034. Those swaps were what years were those first round swaps?
I thought they were like 31, 32.
Yeah, it's a weird. They technically still have first round picks. It's just they, like FIFA was saying, they just have the worst version of it between the two. But that doesn't. I mean, basically, it doesn't matter because what they're banking on is that they'll at least get to a finals before then.
29 and 30. That's still. I got to look back because they said 2034 is their next first round. Well, go ahead.
But that's probably when the next time they own their own first round pick.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the next time.
I got you.
But at the end of the day, look, Shelton, I love Nasri. I'm not saying that he's a bum. There's a reason why it took him to go get a guy like LaMelo, right? But this is the lens that I look through when I'm looking and I'm analyzing basketball players. Have you hit your ceiling? And what are you? Like, what archetype are you? What level are you within that archetype? Are you like an all-time great? Are you an all-star? Are you a championship role player? Are you a role player? Or are you a bum? Right? Naz Reid is in between a championship role player and an all-star. I think that if he got starters minutes, he could potentially be an all-star player. Not perennially, but he can make a couple of all-star teams, right? I think he is definitely a dog. We've seen him. We've seen his ascension. We've seen him develop. But ask yourself this one question. Does he get better? He has done developing.
Yeah, he is where he is.
He is who he is. LaMelo still has potential to be realized. And to me, when I look at it from that perspective, just from a pure talent perspective, you make this move. You win the trade. The NBA is about getting the most talented guys that fit together. That's what basketball's about. Get me the most talented guys that fit together, that their games are complementary. And when I look at what LaMelo brings to the table, which again I said weeks ago, is complementary to Ant-Man. And that's what Ant needs. Ant needs his Robin. It wasn't Cat. I damn sure knew it was not Julius Randle. Naz Reid is nice, but he ain't that guy. And Jaden, is it McDaniels or Jaden Daniels?
McDaniels.
McDaniels.
Jaden McDaniels, in my opinion, proved against Denver. Well, shit, nigga, nigga, shit. You see, bro, he legit put them on his back, was getting 30, talking smack with an assassin face. That showed me that, well, damn, you could make some moves because he's looking like the second best player on this team. He proved that. So to me, you can move on from a Naz Reid and you can replace him with somebody like, again, I'm not saying, but you can go get like, not Cam, who's the one that went to Denver? They traded Michael Porter Jr. for him. Cam Johnson. You could go get a Cam Johnson, bro. Those guys are bountiful in the NBA. Is he as good as Naz Reid? No, I'll take Naz Reid 10 times out of 10 times. But give me LaMelo over Naz Reid any day.
I think too the way they round out this roster is going to be very important because right now they have their guard heavy. You got the Sumo, like Ken said, that part. I thought he was ready to step into that role that LaMelo is going to be playing. So I think that kind of pushes him back down. They're talking about starting both of them even, but that moves Ant to the 3, which you already got defensive liabilities. So it's going to be tough because you got to hire LaMelo defensively. But
But he could hold his own though, Shelter. He's not a Trae Young level defender. Like he's not the worst of the worst. He can handle his own.
I just look at AO like, damn, I thought AO was was that guy coming in. I thought he was going to have one of those type seasons because he stepped up big. That ankle injury hurt him. You got DiVincenzo coming back on that team. You got Terrence Shannon, who stepped up tremendously. I always loved Terrence Shannon since he was in college. That guy, I think Terrence Shannon is one of those guys. But with these guys they got now, it's going to be tough to realize that. So
they
you're
still
going to
got Bones. They still got Bones Highland.
Yeah, you're gonna have to move some pieces around to get some size in there. You're gonna have to, because you can't match up with those teams in the West. What you have now, like we said, Rudy Gobert is not enough for Wemby, and then you have nothing behind Rudy Gobert as far as size to defend that stuff. Jaden McDaniels is a 3. He's not a 4.
Mm-hmm.
He can play the 4. He's 6'9", but he's 180.
He's a small ball 4. Yes,
right. It's the same. It's the same way like the Knicks was trying to use Anunoby in the playoff. Like, yeah, you can slide him into the 4 slot, but he's the natural 3.
Mm-hmm. The difference in the two of them is Anunoby is strong as an ox. Jaden Names is 185.
Yeah, he's skinnier. Yeah, he's skinny.
Yeah, so he ain't ready to try to be playing down there. So you really need some size to come off the bench to kind of help them out. And then 2, I'm interested to see Ant and LaMelo play together because we sound like it's gonna be smooth. But what made the Charlotte team special with LaMelo was penetrating kick guy, and those guys are shooters. Brandon Miller is deadly. Con Knipple is deadly. Ant is more of a penetrator himself. So hopefully it'll work out for them. But what made them special was pop and shoot.
But Ant over the last 2-3 seasons has made himself into an elite 3-point shooter. And I think last year it was only Con Knipple that was on a that finished with more threes than him. I think it was Con, and I think Ant finished in the top 2 or
LaMelo was first and Con was second, and Ant was I forgot what Ant was.
He's top 5, but he's a top 5 3-point shooter in the NBA by makes. Obviously not by percentage, but his percentages also have gone up even though he's taking more shots. Again, now you have to. Okay, let's think about strategically, right? How do you want to attack San Antonio and OKC, or just the NBA in general, right? We've seen it with Golden State. When you make the defense play 30, 35 feet out there, because LaMelo has that type of range, and Ant don't shoot them super deep, but obviously he's a good 3-point shooter, and your 1 and 2, your 2 main ball handlers can shoot the 3 and penetrate. What does that puts extreme pressure on the defense on how are we going to guard this? Do we go under the screen? LaMelo hit a 35-foot if you go under the screen. Ant can hit a 35-foot if you go under the screen. If you try to double, they're both good enough passers to make the play or turn the corner. So it puts the defense in a conundrum as to how are we going to attack 2 guys now. 2 guys.
Yeah.
We can't just, like you said, double team Ant. You know what I'm saying? We can't just do that because think about it. We've seen Ant overcome a point guard-less roster.
Mm-hmm.
That was their number 1 deficiency. Mike Conley, bro, he could come in and play 10 minutes and be okay, but they didn't have a starting level point guard. Not at least not consistently, right? Like I love Bones Highland. I love his game, but you know what his deficiency is? He's not consistent. He with turnovers, his jumper. One game he's great. One game he looks like he's a bum. Like you can't rely on that. LaMelo is a big upgrade there. And here's the thing: I'm not worried about them competing because, like you said, Shelton, and I think everybody here agrees, they're not. Charlotte's not done. Minnesota's not done. The rest of the NBA is not done. I even said this. This is going to be the biggest shakeup that we've seen in a very long time. I think Kawhi is gone. I don't think Kawhi stays with the Clippers, even though he wants to stay in LA. Jaylen Brown, now that he was legit in trade talks, you know what I'm saying? He might feel a type of way. And also think about this, right? Like sometimes, it's it's the actions, but you got to listen to their words. What did Jaylen Brown say earlier this year? He said this is the most fun he's ever had. Oh, so you have more fun this season not winning a championship than winning a championship in the previous 2 seasons competing for a championship. So what does that say?
I feel like he said, like, again, once you win a title, it takes a lot of relief off of you, especially the way Jaylen Brown won a title, especially the way, like, if you could talk about Giannis or, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it takes a lot of pressure off you when it comes to, like, you've proven yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've proven yourself, and now it's like I just want to have fun. Of course, I want to win another one. I want to continue my legacy, but now I've already been there and done that. What's the new frontier? So that's why I feel like Jaylen Brown was talking about, like, I had the most fun more than the title because I already got that monkey off my back. Now,
hi everyone, I'm Cece Winans. Join me in supporting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. You can become a partner in Hope right now for just $19 a month. And thanks to the generosity of people like you, families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food, so they can focus on helping their child live.
Join us at musicgives.org.
I want to prove that I'm a 1A. My thing, though, going back to this whole thing is I'm not like a lot of the stuff I feel like, Ken, we're talking about is regular season talk. Like, as far as Minnesota competing, them being good and all that. What the whole league, or what I feel like the main commentary is about when it comes to in the West, what's that second round look like when you facing OKC or San Antonio? What's that Western Conference Finals looking like when you facing OKC or San Antonio? How does this all play out then? Because it's fine to win 50 games in the West, be a top 6 seed, and everybody being like, oh, we doubted them early on, but we didn't know they were going to be this good, until the playoffs come, and now it's a 7-game series where you got to be at your best. And LaMelo Ball still has not played a meaningful playoff game. He played in the play-in, but that's not the playoffs. And then on top of that, Ant has seen his team deteriorate ever since that trade for Rudy Gobert. And so what I'm saying is that, yes, I know what you're saying, FIFO, to be more optimistic when everybody's going right, you're going left. Yeah, that can work, but I think that can only work at best beating one of those two teams. I don't think they can come out the West with the current roster. Now, if they go get a Mitchell Robinson or a Hartenstein or whoever, however they make the money work and however, still make things happen, that would be great. But to me, even if they did get a Kawhi or a Jaylen Brown, like, that's still small ball. Like, you still have to, OKC had a great draft with getting another 7-footer. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're still dealing with, okay, like I can get to the lane, because fuck a 3-point, because most of those guys, especially when you're facing OKC and San Antonio, they guarding on the outside too. They forcing you to come inside because they know they got that both of them got monsters in there to where they can block everything on. So it's not worrying about getting the open 3, because it's not going to happen. I'm just thinking about when it comes to those two teams, because that's the reason why they pivoted, is that, do you think moving forward over the next 2 seasons, because like Ken mentioned, the business wide is LaMelo Ball's current contract is over in 3 years. Anthony Edwards, same thing. And no one gives a fuck about anybody else. It's just those main two. How do you compete over these next 2 seasons where you got these guaranteed contracts? And I don't think they can beat either one of those teams back-to-back series.
But Nick, but this is why what Ken was saying is so important, because as a GM, you have to, like, your first inclination, and I know this is going to sound messed up, it's not for the player, it's for the organization. And what this organization has done is that they have an out, they have a plan B, meaning that in your scenario, they don't get past the second round anymore because they gave up the size that they did. But guess what? We have a superstar and a potential superstar that's going to get us the picks that require to rebuild. Because at the end of the day, we know that for the next however long SGA is signed for and however long Wemby's going to be there, that's going to be the 2 top teams in the West, bro. That's just what it's going to be. So guess what? If we don't see that we can compete in these next 2 seasons, and now you, the player, have the leverage to say, you know what, I'm not going to resign unless you trade me because y'all haven't made the roster good enough anyway. Okay, cool. We'll ship you off. We'll get a haul of picks. We'll be ass and booty for a couple of the seasons, and we'll draft number 1 whenever that time comes. So at the end of the day, I feel you, Nick, but you have to look, again, I'm looking at this through the lens of a GM. Through the lens of a GM, I'm with it for both squads. Both teams won in this trade because the Hornets now have a treasure chest of first-round pick swaps that are worse. So, again, in your scenario, Hornets win if Minnesota's booty. They can still go get somebody else.
Yeah.
Both teams, so I'm good with it.
Yeah. As we get ready to wrap up, Nick, I know you may have some thoughts on Austin Reeves returning back to LA. But my response to you, Nick, is to that scenario you propose is that we already know what it looks like with the roster that they had.
Yeah.
So what difference does it make? They didn't get past the second round this time. So that's the way I look at it.
It was a Hail Mary worth taking. The only thing that I don't understand from Charlotte's standpoint, and like I said, on the basketball side, I understand completely, but you got rid of the face of your franchise, one of the faces of the league, in a team in Charlotte that a lot of players don't attract major talent. That's been the problem in Charlotte for the longest time. So to get a LaMelo Ball, he was the biggest star we've ever had here. Even with Larry Johnson, Lonzo Mourning, those guys, it was LaMelo.
Kemba Walker.
Even with Kemba, LaMelo was just the biggest face of that franchise history. Muggsy Bogues, all that. So to let him go and to let him walk was surprising because those butts were in the seats and nothing else. Those games were selling out and it was fun to watch. In the second half of that season, they went on a run. So I was shocked that they let him go that easy. When I say face of the league, I don't mean play-wise, Rob. I'm talking about the fact that the young kids are following LaMelo. LaMelo is one of the biggest. Yeah, he's one of the most popular players in the league. You're talking about somebody that's on the cover of GQ magazine, and LaMelo is just he's pop culture. So in saying that, to let him go for Naz Reid is kind of tough. But they signed Kobe White back to fill that void. You got that. This is crazy. I just read this too. They could trade Miles Bridges, Grant Williams, Calcaterra, Trey, and a first-round pick. You can get Jaylen Brown and still have a $40 million trade exception. Still have an $8 million trade exception. And they got a $7 million trade exception. So they got more moves to make. So this is not done. And he's already said as much. Jeff Peterson has already said we're not finished. So be on for the wild ride. I'm just looking forward to see what the last product will look like for both teams.
Well, my thing with that, Sheldon, is that I feel like with the trade of LaMelo, everything you said right, but that's more so off the court stuff. Like what I believe Charlotte is realizing is like they got a taste of winning. They got a taste of what winning feels like, and they were like, winning is popular. Winning is always popular. It's more popular than anybody. Any individual is not bigger than the franchise winning. And what they realized that we had 6 years of this guy. We know him in and out, and he does not produce winning basketball, winning culture. And Con Knipple, when he got there, you know how your team is, Sheldon. Like you mentioned, they like white boys.
Yeah, they do.
They like their white boys, and they gonna build around that.
I'm not gonna let you tear down a black man, even though he looked white himself.
I'm not tearing down LaMelo. This ain't about LaMelo. I'm just saying.
Yes, you are.
The facts are the facts, people.
No, because you say that he don't play winning basketball, but Shelton just said that they went on a crazy run at the end of the season to put him in a play-in situation, and that was primarily because of LaMelo Ball.
Was that the first time they were ever in the play-in?
No.
Under the LaMelo Ball era.
So that's the limit.
It wasn't.
That wasn't the first time they went to the play-in before. So,
look, okay, but look, what I'm saying is this. Is that you have a window of opportunity that you either take the risk or you pay the price. You take the risk and trade a guy like LaMelo. That opens up everything that I said originally, plus what Shelton is saying. You still have the opportunity to go trade Miles Bridges. You still go have the opportunity to go get a Jalen, the Boston buddy. I can't all these damn
Jalen
Brown.
You have an opportunity to go get Jaylen Brown and still have a $42 million trade exception. This is an opportunity to take a risk or pay the price. Paying the price would have meant that when Khan is up, when Brandon Miller is up, we're going to pay our guys. And what do I always say? This is a key factor that I always say. You're never going to pay all of the guys that you draft. That just does not happen. Show me a team that paid all of the guys that they drafted. The closest that we've seen is Golden State Warriors. They played 3 guys. And that was
Yeah.
it. Everybody else was.
But FIFO,
Yeah,
you're
let's get to this
disregarding.
Austin Reeves thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
real quick,
okay.
FIFO, you're disregarding the fact that if LaMelo Ball got them consistently in the playoffs, he would not be traded today. That's
No,
my
he would
main
not.
point. That's my main point. They have seen him for 6 years. They've seen the ceiling that what he got, and it's a play-in, bounce out, and that's not good enough. And it's like, okay, are we going to extend this man for $150+ million for 2 extra years of this shit? No, let's like you said, Sheldon, it's better on the other side than what we already were going with.
Yeah. Yeah. But people in your defense, if they were making the playoffs, they wouldn't have Con. They wouldn't have Brandon. So
Not 100%.
yeah, they would have.
Wasn't healthy either. Just saying.
They would have some scrubs.
Austin Reeves is back. For a 4-year, $185 million max contract with the player option for a final season. Thoughts on that, Nick? And then we got some super chats, and we'll get out of here.
I don't know what the fuck the Lakers is doing. They're like the poor man's version of the Timberwolves. I don't understand. Let Austin go. Like I don't like does and people, you looking at me wide eyed. Are they getting out the second round? Are they getting out the first round, Shelton, with this current roster?
This is not about that.
Especially
not about that.
Especially if LeBron leaves. I know people are saying like you got to keep Luka happy. You got to show that you're surrounding Luka with some talent. But we've seen this iteration of the Lakers for the last 2 years. Rob Pelinka has been living off that bubble ring for the last 6 years. Yeah. And it hasn't looked the same since. The closest they got was that Western Conference Finals against Denver, where they got I think they got swept or gentlemen swept. Either way, it hasn't been the same. And I feel like what they're scared to do is come to Luka and say, "Look, bro, we're gonna have to do a strong rebuild and put it down to nuts and bolts."
Let me pause you right there.
Because signing this guy right now ain't gonna help us at all.
But let me pause you right there. Even for the rebuild, you have to sign Austin Reeves for 2 reasons. You can't allow a talented player like that just to walk for nothing. That's number one. You can't allow a guy that averages 20 plus in this league just walk and you don't get nothing in return. That is just not possible. That's number one. Number two is that if you are going to rebuild, you want a contract like Austin Reeves to be able to trade. Because even if, and I don't disagree with you, even if he's not worth the contract, it's worth the business of the contract. Because if you're going to go big game hunting to pair a guy with Luka in the future, you need that type of salary to match up. And I agree with you. I don't think Austin Reeves is worth that either, but you sign him to that because if next year y'all don't do nothing and you tell Luka, "Hey, bro, we're gonna go get somebody," Austin Reeves the first person gone.
And if you're talking again, you're thinking more so GM had business wise. I'm just looking at the timeline that I see within the West with the Lakers, and we talked about the Timberwolves already. But like, even if business wise, it makes sense to try to use that as a future asset. Luka gets older and older every year. They do not compete, and his injuries are adding up at this point where he plays less than LeBron, and LeBron got sciatica. So my thing is, with the Lakers, I just don't see, and Manny can probably talk about this more, but I don't know what the fuck the future looks like for them. Like, when do they really compete? I'm just saying, Ken, when do they really compete? We talking about 2029, 2030?
They actually played well when LeBron was out, though. So I honestly think, I'm
talking about playoffs, Sheldon. I'm not talking about regular season. I'm talking about playoffs. That's the thing.
Well, neither one of them were there in the playoffs, Nick.
Exactly. As dead end sports, I think what's the unwritten rule about dead end sports is when we talk about these arguments with teams, it's mostly we talk about when the competition is at its height, playoffs. We could talk about football may be different because the regular season matters more, but when we're talking about NBA, it's pure playoffs. And we just seen that the West has got redone in the landscape as far as the Spurs are now the top dog, OKC's 8th or 1B if not number 2, and everybody else. And that's even before you get to whoever's coming out the East. So it's just like, I just don't know what the Lakers do with just Luka and Bron, because Bron may more than likely is coming back, but Austin Reeves ain't it. They still haven't found a big to replace Anthony Davis. They don't have a bench. JJ Redick hasn't really proven himself as a head coach. Like, there's so many things up in the air with the Lakers. It's just like signing Austin Reeves. FIFO, to your credit, maybe that is a smart GM move for down the line, but down the line sounds like 2029, 2030. And I don't know what Luka looks like at that point.
No,
Probably not
here's the
like
thing.
shit, but I think that may be the timeline. At the end of the day, the way what I'm reading here is it says that this agreement has no impact on their flexibility this summer, as the team's projected salary space takes into account Reeves' $20.9 million cap hold. He was signed last after the Lakers exhaust room and will make $41.3 million in the first year. So this won't, if I'm understanding that correctly, impact them from in that regard. But I think the way I'm looking at this is they're in a holding pattern because of LeBron. And right now, Luka likes him. They play well together, Luka and Austin. Let's bring these two together. LeBron will be out of here soon, and then we can start building the team around them. They got a lot of work to do. Signing Austin Reeves or not signing Austin Reeves will not get them out of the first round or second round next year anyway. Anytime soon, in all honesty. Because the roster needs so much of a turnover. So more power to them to sign him. But I like Austin Reeves. I think he can play, but more power to them. They have a lot of other issues that they need to deal with.
He averaged 20. He averaged 23, 6, and 5. The man can play. And like I said, at that time when LeBron was out, him and LaMelo, him and still on LaMelo,
Luka.
him and Luka looked really good together running that team. So you and with, like I said, with Detroit making a push, they had to up the ante and pay a little bit more than normal. But don't get alarmed by what they're paying now, because that's the going rate now for players. So you're paying him what he deserves, technically speaking. So you keep the pieces in place that add to your team. You know he's gonna get you buckets. You know he's equipped to play in LA. You don't want to try to risk it with somebody else. If you need to trade him later, he's a tradable asset. But you keep that man on your squad, because him and Luka play well together. And he's not demanding. He's scoring 23 points, people, and he's not even demanding the ball like that. He's not like I gotta have it type guy. So
he's not an alpha. He's really a Robin that could get you buckets whenever you need. And that's why, like, to me, I don't love it, but I understand the business of basketball. And this was just a business move. And even that extra $5 million that they gave him was the difference what LA can give him versus what any other team could give him. Detroit was really going after him. There's a couple of other suitors as well. That $5 million is what kept them there. And then at the end of the day, that extra $5 million is what you can get back in return if you have to move on from him. So, Nick, I feel like you're looking at this solely from a basketball playing perspective and a playoff perspective. We got to look at this holistically, because again, I don't disagree with none of your takes. You know what I'm saying? You're relatively on point. Like, this doesn't move the needle. This is not. And here's the thing, Nick. I think the Lakers know that they're not in a true championship window right now.
Yeah,
they know that. They 100% know that. So in knowing that, like Ken said, your timeline is different because of those top two teams in the West. And here's the thing too. The business of basketball dictates Luka can be got if we don't have that push. If Luka can't overcome, if Luka continues to be a injury concern, you move off of that.
Yeah, but my thing is this, FIFA. I don't disagree with that point. My main thing is, as the Laker franchise, like, if this is a Chicago Bulls, Shelton, they happy as hell just to make the playoffs, right? Consistently. But this is the Los Angeles Lakers, and those fans have
the Bus family. But this is no longer the Bus family.
I understand that this is Dodgers. The Dodgers own it, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying though, like, the Laker fan base though, they expect titles. They're like the Cowboys. They expect titles. So
the fan base don't own the organization though. So I understand all that. But hold on, Nick, because you just said it. The LA Dodgers ownership now owns the LA Lakers. And what have we seen them do? They will go big game hunting. They don't wait. So LeBron, bro, you on the cusp. They like LeBron is not their guy. Luka is a guy in the NBA, but that's not their guy. Austin Reeves is a business move. The way that we see that this Laker team is going to be, they're not building them for a championship contender today for next season. They know that. Everybody in the NBA knows that. But at the end of the day, it's how many assets can you amass? Because then maybe there is a disgruntled star that now you can move Austin Reeves for. Maybe.
Well, I got to get ready to dip because I got to go see Leviticus. But if you want to know about the fan base, Nick, we got one in the chat, bro. Manny's happy about this shit. And so he ain't thinking about a title.
We know why, man.
He just want the white stripes back together. Herb and By, what's the biggest trade that didn't fall through? Rockets trading Ralph Sampson for Clyde and the number 2 pick in 9-4. CP3 trade to LA. Charles Barkley to LA for James Worthy in 9-2.
It's CP to LA. I always would say CP to LA.
CP.
He would have got a title.
Yeah.
And that changes his whole trajectory of how we look at CP.
I think Charles Barkley, the LA for James Worthy was just as big. Would have gave Barkley a ring and a chance to play with those guys, which would have been.
But wasn't Magic retired?
Magic was still there, I think, in '92.
What? When did the Bulls play? Because their first championship was against the Lakers.
That was 91. That was 91, I thought.
So 91. Yeah, no, it was 90. It was the 90-91 season. 92-93 was against Portland. 93-94.
That was the Suns, right? Was that 93-94?
Yeah, Magic retired in 96. He retired in 91, and then he came back in 92, right?
Yeah, so that team wasn't the same Showtime Laker team we're thinking of. So they just wasn't the same. So to me, yeah, Charles is nice, but I think it's CP.
Should Curry be looking for a trade? Warriors roster is looking terrible.
At this point, Curry is going to retire. Warrior. There's no point in
him.
He
needs to stay. He needs to try to get some of his guys to come play with him. I.e. LeBron, maybe Kawhi, some of those guys like that.
KD.
It's no point in him leaving because he's not going to be beloved as he is where he at.
And he already got his title.
I disagree.
So there's no reason.
Everybody in the NBA loves Steph Curry.
I'm saying more than Golden State.
They
obviously not more than Golden State.
That's what I'm saying.
FIFA, they do love him, but there's no reason for him to leave. Leaving wouldn't do nothing but tarnish his image. He has an image of being the Golden State Warrior. If he goes anywhere else, it just tarnishes that. And he got his championship, so he's not chasing rings.
Yeah. Zach, stop. Or Stope, whatever. All signs show the Lakers are reluctant to dedicate more of the direction to LeBron and more to life after LeBron.
Which is fine.
Yeah, that's what they should be doing. That's what they should be doing. But, I don't know. It seems like they're kind of stuck in between to me, kind of like that Aaron Rodgers thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, Zach. I'm Zach. I don't know what the rest
Zach
is.
Stopa.
Stopa.
All right.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
So, Zach.
Shout out. Appreciate it, Zach. But yeah, man. Look, everything. JB is on the market too. They still talking, Nick. He said he met with JB.
Hey, you remember how I used to say, kid, Russell Wilson was the most disrespected athlete? Jaylen Brown is the most. Sheldon, tell me a franchise 4 years removed from winning the title, a guy who won Eastern Conference Finals MVP, NBA Finals MVP, is on the trade block for 3 years straight.
That's
he's done. He's done more for that franchise than.
Did he ask to be traded?
He's never asked to be traded. He's never asked to be traded. No, he's never asked to be traded.
Brad Stevens just said that he's a big part of their future. He just never said it was going to be on the team.
Yeah, he a big part of that trade assets for the next future. That's my thing. It's like we gonna look back. We gonna look back at the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown era 10, 15 years from now and being like, they didn't give a fuck about him, and he did more for them than Jason Tatum did.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No other franchise would treat their a star player like that. I promise you.
Mhm.
Well, if it happens, we'll depending on where or what happened, anything major happens, we'll hop on. But I meant to do this in the upfront, but we are on our summer vacation with the return possibly July 28th or August 4th. But breaking news, we'll definitely hop on and share some quick thoughts on it as well. Shout out to Chicagoland. That's where Zach is from. And we appreciate everybody showing up, man. And we'll catch you guys next time. We out. Peace.
Peace.
Peace. Hit that like button.